questions, don't forget to call us on the numbers that are flashing on your screen. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp. Both the numbers are printed right across your screens right now. But we begin with a look at how the markets have performed to get a sense of the kind of market we're looking at today. And there has been some bit of a midweek relief for investors as the Nifty 50 broke a 3-day losing streak to end higher. The Sensex maintained its winning streak for a second straight session. And sectoral indices have ended mixed. Neeraj Shah, stocks editor, joins in with a quick wrap of all the action on the bourses.
Well, flat day for the markets, and not that anything else was anticipated, because ahead of the US CPI data, very unlikely the markets would have made a big move. Banks gave up some of the late gains of yesterday, but IT was a surprise package, did really well in trade today relative to what it was doing for a better part of the trading day. But if you look at the large cap space, there was Reliance, the Adani twins, a couple of steel names kind of were sluggish in trade, and that was thwarted by consumption, because names like Trent, Asian Paints, Nestle, etc. had a fairly decent outing. Britannia was up about 2%. There was strength in Infosys, and that was amongst the top contributors. And Bajaj Finance, after the analyst meet day, was up about 2.5%. The advanced decline ratio will come up on our screen next before we get the BSE 500 winners and losers. And the market breadth almost stayed consistent throughout the trading day in favor of the advances, but did come off a little bit towards the last couple of hours, if you will. And the BSE 500 winners and losers will come up on your screen next, and you will see that the list of names was interesting. I mean, PSG Infra on the order win up about 11%. Swan Energy, as it gets closer to some corporate developments, up about 9%. Delta Corp had a 5% uptick. Jubilant had an 8% uptick, which was actually really good too. Remember, a clutch of things, including the CDMO business, which will work well. So that one is up about 8%. What didn't do well after a number of days, ITI corrected 7%. CCI Products, it's a pass-through higher coffee prices, but down 3%. There was weakness in Brigade, La Opala, maybe a Trident, etc. So some of the textile names also came off in trade, and that was the interesting piece. Remember, large names included, for example, Avenue Supermarts, etc., corrected in trade after the Goldman note. So those are a few things that kind of stood out in trade. But all in all, ahead of the US inflation numbers, no big moves, and none was anticipated.
Viewers, Aditya Arora, founder and multi-asset research analyst at Adlitech, is joining us on the show. Welcome to NDTV Profit, Aditya.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Right. So Aditya, our viewers have started sending in queries. So let's go across to them. So first up we have Chandan, and he hails from Mysore. He has bought 100 shares of Heritage Foods at 500 apiece. He's asking whether to hold or sell the stock. The stock has been performing decently, and I would like to go across to you on this one. How do you see the stock on the technical front?
I think the stock did pretty well in month of June and July, wherein the stock shot up from 368 levels to 718. After that, the stock has been in corrective structure, making lower high, lower low pattern. So there isn't much strength which there should be in the market. Even in this superb recovery which we saw in last 10 to 20 days, this stock hasn't done so well. And technically also, the patterns are deteriorating a little bit. So I would say this is a sell on rise candidate. So you can lighten up the position over here, and you could get better opportunities at lower level. So it's basically avoid as of now.
What else do you suggest apart from this? If not Heritage Food, so then if the viewer wants to buy some other stock?
Yeah, so viewer can look at blue chip stocks in such volatile times. He can consider stocks like Britannia, which is available at very decent support levels. And if he wants to look out for breakout stocks, then metal sectors are doing well. There are good tailwinds in this sector. Today, Chinese policy was introduced, wherein they are having easy monetary policy, which is very good for metal counters. There could be a good rally ahead of us because of these fundamental changes. I like Hindalco in that space. National Aluminium is good. Jindal Steel, JSW Steel. So basically all these metal stocks actually look very good right now on the charts.
All right, also joining us right now on Ask Profit is Lancelot Dicuna, the Chief Investment Officer of ValueX Wealth Connect. He's joining us with a fundamental view of these stocks. Hi, Lancelot. Thank you very much for being on the show. Good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, let's straight go down to business. And we have a question that's come in from a viewer called Abhi. I think he's from Bengaluru, and he's purchased about 100 shares of ITI, and he's purchased them at a price of 398.45 rupees. He's asking if the stock price will see an upward direction from here and whether he should hold or sell the stock. We're going to pull up ITI right now. The stock has, of course, been down today, but has been performing all right in recent times. Let's have a view from both our guests on this. Lancelot, first to you. How do the fundamentals of ITI look to you?
So actually speaking, this stock has rallied a lot based on the public sector companies. The move that happened when a lot of the public sector companies were felt as undervalued, and thereafter, the stocks all moved up. So I think when you look at it from a fundamental basis, it doesn't look very strong in terms of growth, both in terms of profitability as well as sales growth, as well as the return ratios look a little bit stretched in terms of valuation. So I would be a little cautious in terms of holding on to this stock for a long term. It's probably better to move to, even if you want to remain in the public sector domain, then one can look at companies that have much stronger future being in the public sector domain. Otherwise, you can look at exiting this at this point in time.
Fair point. Aditya, what's your sense on this? How do the charts look on it? And in the short term, what would your perspective be?
Sure. So basically, in the short term, if his review is very short term, like within a week, then I would suggest he can get out of the counter. But if he has a time horizon of 1 to 2 months, then probably we can hit a new high, which could be beyond 400 or so. But he has to wait for 1 to 2 months for that, because after a stellar rally, this stock is correcting a little bit, and it could form the base around 350 odd levels, and from there, stock can take support. And as it's a strong support, there could be a fresh leg of rally again starting from there.
Right, Aditya. Now we are getting one more query. It's from Shrikant, and he's from Hyderabad. He says that he's holding Hutco at 269 a piece. He hasn't mentioned as to how many stocks he has actually bought, but he is asking for a view for the next 1 year. So if we talk about Hutco's recent performance, so that's not been that good. And today the stock was also trading flat. If we could just pull up, yes, you can see it on your screens right now. Now for this, I would like to go across to Lancelot. So Lancelot, what's your outlook towards the stock for 1 year?
I think from a fundamental perspective, the company should do better, because two things are happening. One is we are seeing a lot of financing requirements for various urban development cities that are being taken up by the government, and now the government is going all out in terms of promoting new cities, and you'll see Hutco arranging for finance in a lot of situations like this. And with the overall environment for interest rate cuts, these are beneficial for institutions which have sensitivity to interest rates. And Hutco is being one of them. You should see, with interest rates decline over the next 12 months, their profitability should see some improvement, especially in the case of net interest margins. And that would be very positive for the stock. So from a fundamental perspective, things are going to be a lot better over the next 12-month period, and one can remain invested to take advantage of this changing scenario.
Right. So you're suggesting hold on the stock?
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, we've been having a lot of queries around Hutco. For the past 3 days, we've had one caller or the other talk about it. But I'm going to now go across to Anup. He's calling in from Hyderabad, and I think he's on the phone line. Hi, Anup. How are you doing this evening?
Good evening, ma'am. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Anup, I understand that you are holding about 17,000 shares of SpiceJet. It's at a price of 60.31 rupees a piece.
Yes.
Go ahead with your question. What is also give us a bit of a backgrounder in terms of what made you invest in this in the aviation sector?
Okay, I have purchased today this one. SpiceJet shares 17,000 at the price of 60.31. And this one, since we have this one Santa Rally and the other things is that winter vacations is also there. So I just have some short-term view on this. So I need your advice whether I should sell, hold, or I should book loss in this.
All right. Let's in fact go across to Aditya. So Aditya, he's looking at a short-term perspective. What's your sense on SpiceJet?
Yeah, as he was targeting Santa Rally, which usually is seen in second half of December, and market outlook is also improving a little bit with FIs unwinding their short position. So I think the market environment is little buoyant, and even in international market, it's a pretty stable environment. So he can hold on for 1 or 2 months when the market environment is good. Technically, if we talk 56 should be the stop loss for this trade. Basically, 56 is the support. If that is not broken, he can maintain bullish bias, and levels on the upside are 68 to 72, which are the upside levels I look over here.
Okay, and Lancelot, is that a view that you share, as well as do you think this is a good stock to hold because of the fundamentals of it?
No, on the fundamental side, there are much better managed companies in the aviation space. Like you have Indigo, who is a market leader, and we saw even in the last quarter, company like Indigo also was struggling with with their profitability. So I think from a fundamental perspective, it's not a stock that you want to hold for great value or even earnings growth. So from that perspective, one should just look at exiting SpiceJet, and if you want to look at aviation space, then Interglobe is much better an option.
Right. Now, we are also getting one more caller from Hyderabad. Hi, Vijay.
Good evening, madam.
Thanks for speaking to NDTV Profit. How can I help you?
Madam, I was bought 1,850 shares at the HCL Tech at the rate of 1920.
Okay.
Shall I hold
1,080 shares?
1,850 shares.
Okay. Of HCL Tech?
HCL Tech at the rate of 1920.
Okay. And
okay, shall I hold or exit?
And when did you buy, Vijay? When did you buy these shares?
3 days back.
3 days back. Okay, so you're asking for a long-term perspective on it or a short-term?
Short-term purpose, madam.
Short-term. All right. So
yes,
Aditya,
madam. Another thing. Also, 1 second, madam. I want to buy Federal Bank and Infosys at this rate.
I'm afraid to say, Vijay, we'll stick to one stock, one query at a time, and we'll take your other queries in the shows to come. Yeah.
Okay, madam.
So we'll stick to one query for now. So Aditya,
yes,
what is your take on HCL Tech? How is HCL Tech looking on the charts?
I think HCL Tech is consolidating with upward bias and moving in a channel. So with Santa Rally around the corner, which usually is seen in international market, and this stock is actually trading at 52-week high, so showing pretty good strength in such volatile times. If he's looking for very short time, then till early Jan, stock as it's moving in upward channel, it could hit higher levels like 1950 to 2000. So slightly bullish bias, not very bullish, but neutral to bullish bias, and the upside levels are 1950 to 2000.
What are you suggesting clearly if he should buy, hold? He's already bought, so hold or sell in the next 1 month?
Hold and look for opportunity to book profit in range of 1950 to 2000.
All right.
Okay, let's now, in fact, take up a query that we've got on WhatsApp, and this is Surajit Deb. He's written to us from Nagpur. He tells us that he's holding about 1,600 shares of Bharat Electronics BEL, and it's at about 286 per share. He wants to know if he should hold this further or perhaps up move. And let's in fact first get a view on Bharat Electronics from Lancelot. Lancelot, what's your overall view on Bharat Electronics? Of course, the share currently I think has been trading at 314 rupees is what we are told. Are you bullish on it?
Yes, I think Bharat Electronics is in a long-term bull situation. The reason being that with the increase in defense spending by the government and a lot of contracts coming to the defense companies, Bharat Electronics being in the more sophisticated space of radars and missile guidance systems, etc. There is a greater up moves being seen in Bharat Electronics. They also are providing the avionics for many of the fighter jets that are going to be manufactured in India. So that kind of order will give them a huge boost, especially with the fighter jets and the light helicopter order which they may get. So given that there's a long runway for this stock, one should stay invested for if you're looking at a 3 to 5 year perspective, and definitely you will get much better returns over that period of time.
It's a hold from your side, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think we've got another caller on the phone line right now. It's Shivam from Delhi. Hi, Shivam. Is it really cold in Delhi today? Because we've been hearing about how cold it is.
Yes, today is 4 degrees.
Oh my God.
Too cold.
All right. So please do go ahead with your query.
I am holding Voltas. For short-term view, I want to know, can I hold it or not?
Okay. And when did you buy it? At what rate did you buy it?
Like around 1 minute, exactly I will tell you. I holding at 1760 I purchased like 4-5 days back only.
Okay.
400 shares I am holding. For short term view, can I hold it or sell? Like right now I am in profit only. 1760 at 1760 I purchased.
Okay, Aditya, what's your sense? Should he hold it on the short term? He's just bought it about 4-5 days ago. That's what he's telling us. And he does hold quite a number of shares of it.
Absolutely, he has picked a very good stock because in such falling market also this stock was very stable, and with recovering market this stock is attempting a breakout. So I would qualify this as a good stock, and he can hold on to this investment. And stop loss in the current scenario is 1750, and the targets which I am looking are almost 1870 to 1950.
All right, Aditya. Next up, we have Sridharan from Coimbatore, and he's asking his expert views, the expert views on both fundamental and technical side on MOIL, and he's asking if it's the right time to enter into this stock at like 350 to 360 levels. He's also looking for the stop loss target. He's asking for the stop loss target. So Aditya, for this, I'd like to come to you. How is MOIL looking on your charts?
I think MOIL is looking very good because after a dramatic fall from 570 odd levels to 280, and from there the kind of rally which we are seeing is showing that institutions are clearly interested in this, and there's still steam left. So stop loss in the current scenario is 340, and the upside levels which I'm looking are almost 400 to 430. I'm very bullish on MOIL and metal sector.
Right. We're also getting a query from Vijayawada. So Arvind is saying that he's holding 2,370 shares of Nalco at 246 rupees. He's asking whether he should hold or sell the stock. So on Nalco, I would like to know like both the long-term and the short-term view, starting with the fundamentals of the company. So Lancelot, how is the stock looking like?
I think Nalco is definitely a play on aluminium as a commodity, and you are seeing, a global improvement in aluminium prices. The only, risk that one can see is if China increases their production and output and then floods the market with, higher output, and that brings prices down. But from a domestic perspective, I think the consumption as well as the pricing has remained fairly stable. So with that headwind in mind, one can look at investing in this stock, but you need to wait for a little bit of correction and then add, because in commodity cycles, it always depends on if you're able to invest at the bottom, then you get the better upside. And if you invest at the top, then obviously your returns will be very, very long term.
And Aditya, how does Nalco stack up against its competitors?
I think Nalco is very good candidate because it's almost trading at 52-week highs, and we have seen a steep correction in other counters, but this stock really stands well, and it's one of the beneficiary of non-ferrous metals, and we are seeing recently 2 days back, one day, like recently Chinese announced their easy monetary policy, which is pushing all the metals higher. We have seen very good moves in copper, aluminium, zinc. So I think in such a scenario, Nalco is stacked up very well against its peers. And if we talk about the short-term outlook, then I think once it will again attempt to hit a new 52-week high. So that's the short-term scenario, which looks pretty good. And as our other panelists said, in long term, it's very cyclical. So one needs to assess again after 3 months how the global macros are shaping up. But recently, like in the short run, 1 to 2 months, the environment looks pretty good for this stock.
All right, let's go across to one of our viewers who's joining us from Hyderabad. Y. Anand Reddy is calling in. Hi, how are you doing this evening? Can you hear me? Anand Reddy, are you there with us? Mr. Reddy?
Madam.
Please go ahead with your query. I think you're holding some shares of ICICI Bank. Can you give us more details, please?
Yes, madam. I have bought 500 shares of ICICI Bank shares at the rate of 1300 for short-term purpose. Can I hold or sell, madam?
And when did you buy them?
Just 10-15 days back, madam.
Okay. You're looking for a short-term perspective. So,
yes.
Yeah, we'll try and get you both long-term and short-term perspectives. Aditya, first to you, should he hold them or sell them is what he's asking in the short term. He's bought it at a rate of 1300 a piece.
Correct. The stock is pretty good and it's outperforming its peers along with rally in Bank Nifty. ICICI Bank is also inching higher. That's a very positive sign. In the current setup, I see ICICI Bank hitting a new high, which is placed at 1360. So my first target for ICICI Bank is 1360 and second one would be 1380 and stop loss which we must maintain is 1280.
Okay. And Lancelot, what's your sense of it? Of course, Bank Nifty has done really well in the past. But how's ICICI looking? The fundamentals are obviously very strong of the company. But apart from that, do you recommend any other, stocks in the banking space?
So I think, yes, ICICI Bank is doing well. And, with the economy going to grow and with interest rates, the outlook for interest rates, being that we may see a couple more rate cuts in the next financial year, that would be good for the bank and that would help the bank improve its both margins as well as, generate higher profits. So from a valuation perspective, this is part of the India growth story and one needs to keep a bank like ICICI Bank in your portfolio and you should get good returns going ahead for the next couple of years.
Now, just a quick reminder for our viewers, please don't forget to call us on the numbers that are on your screen. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp. Both the numbers are flashing on your screens right now. And now let's go across to one more query that is coming in from Ghaziabad. So Puneet is saying that he's holding 25 shares of Larsen and Toubro at 3,600 rupees. So can you suggest a stop loss and a target in 1 month? So Aditya, L&T looks like a breakout from the consolidation zone. What's your view on the same?
Yes, absolutely. The stock has been consolidating since a long while. From April 2024, it hasn't broken its highs of 3,800 to 3,850. Now the stock has attempted to make a new high. If it consolidates at these levels, then I think it can again breach levels of 4,000. But as in option activity, you have a lot of call writers at 4,000. That is creating some sort of friction and resistance for this counter. But overall, the outlook is very positive and the levels which he must watch out for are on the upside 4,000 to 4,150, and stop loss which he should keep is 3,750.
All right. And Lancelot, how are the fundamentals of L&T looking like according to you?
They're very strong fundamentals. If you see the last couple of quarters, there have been very large order wins, and a lot of those order wins are coming also from the domestic market. So that is something positive for the stock. Execution has always been L&T's strength. It has been one of the best execution teams in the country. So we are seeing good execution happening. Plus, with the geopolitical situation maybe easing up in the Middle East, over the next 3-4 months, we will get a better sense of if the Middle East stabilizes, then L&T could see a further increase in its business from Middle East area as well. So I think all in all, L&T is reasonably priced or valued, and one should maybe look at adding to the stock and keeping it in the portfolio every time there's a decline in the price.
Okay. So buy and hold is what you're suggesting. Now we are getting one more caller from Hyderabad. Hi, Anthony.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We are doing good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for speaking to NDTV Profit. Now, what is your query about, Anthony?
So I've been holding Suzlon, what's the stock for almost a year. On an average, I brought around 30 rupees, around 730 shares.
Okay.
And I'm planning to add few more shares over the year. And my, tenure is around 2 years. I just wanted some inputs on this.
All right. And why did you buy Suzlon in the first place, if I may ask?
The lot of social media influence that got brought me to there.
All right. So Anthony is asking for a long-term outlook on Suzlon. So Lancelot, what are the fundamentals of the company looking like?
So you see, Suzlon actually operates in a very interesting space, which is probably where everybody is looking at government increasing exposure to clean energy and renewable energy. And there's a lot of discussion about how companies can increase their clean energy footprint. And I think Suzlon should be a major beneficiary of all these initiatives. However, when you look at the fundamentals of the company in terms of its profitability and operations, it has a significant amount of challenges ahead, because while wind energy appears to be relatively easier or cheaper, it's very difficult to generate high power rates from wind. And also the seasonality and the reliability becomes an issue. So I think based on that, the company has been facing its own challenges in terms of being able to scale up its business and improve profitability. But recently, they have announced a couple of measures in terms of improving their, let's say, the operating leverage that they have in terms of trying to do mix of solar and wind energy projects. And with the trust of the government, it could see that significant improvement in terms of the business potential. But from a valuation perspective, the stock had really jumped up significantly over the last 12 months and it is expensive. So at this price, one has to really be committed to wait for 2-3 years before one can see decent returns from this stock.
Okay, so you're suggesting a hold on the stock?
Yeah, you can hold it. If you're a long-term investor, you may have to hold it for 2-3 years to get good returns from the stock.
Right. Aditya, on the short-term perspective, what is your take on it?
Sure. So we have seen stellar rally in this stock in last 3 to 4 years, but a lot of good fundamentals have been priced in, and the stock is experiencing selling pressure, even with positive market scenario, and even when we are seeing good rally in the market, this stock is not participating much in the rally. So there's some supply visible at the higher levels. So I would say that he's sitting on handsome gains. He could actually book profit at the higher levels, because I see the possibility of this stock going, below 60, 50. So he may get opportunity to buy at lower levels. So I'm of the view that it's a sell on rise candidate, and he should find opportunities to take profits home.
All right. We are going to slip into a very short break here on Ask Profit, but just to remind our viewers, we are taking your calls live, so do call us and we will try and get your queries answered from our experts. The numbers, of course, flashing on your screen, so do pick up the phone and call us. We slip into a very short break. On the other side, we'll be back with more. Stay with us.
We set you up for the day's trade. 30 calls before the markets open on NDTV Profit.
Jubilant Food above a 600 level on Friday.
Wipro can be first trade to buy
all commodities, but in that Vedanta looks good.
Our experts give you the top stock ideas to prepare you for the day.
ICICI Lombard stocks hit the first target. It has given a very good momentum with good volume.
Don't miss the chance to make the right moves. Only on NDTV Profit, where winners are made before the bell rings.
When the whole day passes like a blur, the news just whizzes past, and you're trying to stay informed. It is our job to bring you news that truly matters. At Profit 360, we cut through the clutter, the long street deals, finance and policy news that could shape your tomorrow. The newsmakers, the trendsetters, and the innovators. In 30 minutes, we've got you covered. So stay ahead, stay informed, and stay profitable with Profit 360. Welcome back. You are watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit, and if you're wondering which stock to pick up next or which one to sell, this is the place where you find all the answers. So do pick up the phones and call us on the numbers that are flashing on your screen. Going across right now to a caller who's joining us from Kolkata. Hi, Rita Brata. How are you?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay, well, just wanted to know that you've got Tata Motors, you've got 26 shares. When did you purchase it, and did you find this to be the most attractive bet in the automotive space?
Right, so I had bought in January, and that time, and like I have been buying it since then. So I have it at an average price of 880. And yeah, Tata Motors has it's a strong company with good fundamentals. So I had bought it, but since then it has been falling. So
yes, it's been a bit shaky, really.
Let's go. I just want to know when to put a stop loss. So.
Okay. So first, let's go across to Aditya. Aditya, he wants to know when should he, what should be the stop loss on this one, and it's been a bit shaky, as I said, in the recent few weeks. So what's your sense on it?
Absolutely. He has picked a good stock, but stock is also very cyclical. Automobile industry has been very cyclical. For example, if you take the perspective, the stock went to almost 60 odd levels in COVID times. And from there, the stock went almost 18x to 1800 odd levels. From there, the sellers have been pretty aggressive in this counter. Obviously, so because there has been a lot of inventory pile up, disruption because of Chinese cars, policy change, heavy discounts are there, and the demand is less. So actually fundamentals are a little deteriorating, and technically also the stock is going below its important moving average, which suggests that buyers are not aggressive, and in fact sellers sellers are getting aggressive. So he should look for opportunity to book profit at the higher levels like 850, 900 odd levels. These are resistance for the stock. And if there's a possibility that stock breaks its swing low, which is placed at 760, he should get out of the counter. So overall, my view is sell on rise, look for opportunity to sell the counter, because you may get the stock at lower levels as the chart suggests right now.
Right. So now we are also getting a caller from Hyderabad. Hi, Sudhakar.
Hello, madam.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. So what is your query about? How can we help you?
Yes, madam. I do have Markson's Pharma, madam. I'm a long-term investor.
Okay.
I'm a senior citizen. I'm a long-term investor. How it is technically and fundamentally, madam? That is one.
Sudhakar, I would just like to know.
Also.
Yeah, I would just like to know that why did you choose Maxon's Pharma among the other pharma players?
Because, madam, the pharma sector is an uptrend actually. Just like that, I have selected this particular share, Markson's Pharma. I do have 120 shares, madam, at 250.
All right. So for this, I'd like to go across to Lancelot. How are the fundamentals of Markson's Pharma looking like, and what's the long-term outlook for this stock?
So I think, if you look at the fundamentals, profit growth has been reasonably good. It's growing its profits about 15% annually. But what is happening is that it has been trading at a very high multiple, and it's very difficult to justify high multiples unless you see very large profit growth in the near term. And given that the near-term outlook is not very, don't expect exponential profits in the near term, I think at this kind of a multiple, it seems to be a little bit expensive, and maybe one should book out your profits and sit out of the stock till it reaches reasonable multiple. Then one can buy into it. Otherwise, there are several other good pharma companies which are also trading at reasonably attractive multiples, and one can look at buying into those. Like, Dr. Reddy's is one which is trading at a relatively lower valuation. Something like that can be added instead of Markson's.
All right. Let's go across to a viewer who is joining in from Bengaluru. Hi, Vivek. I think you want to get a view on Udamji paper. Is that correct? Give us a few more details in terms of when did you buy it? What's the price that you paid for it, and what are you looking at?
Hi, madam. Good evening.
Hi.
So I have purchased Udamji paper at 108.28, looking at its fundamental and quarterly growth, and P and PB were low. So I have purchased. Now it is in a good rally. So I want to know that whether I can make a profit booking, or shall I add more? Buy more, or sell it, or hold for some more time.
Okay.
Total 150 stock shares.
Okay. Okay. And any particular thought process apart from the one that you said that you thought it was doing well?
Because one thing is, I felt like it will go as a multi-bagger.
Okay.
So multi-bagger stock. So that's the reason I invested in that, in this stock. So it has given almost 78% now. I can see the rally. So whether it will go further up, or shall I make the profit, or shall I add, buy more? That's what my point.
Okay, Aditya, what's your sense on it? Vivek, of course, seems to be very happy so far with the way the stock has performed. Is that how you're seeing it as well?
First of all, very congratulations to our viewer. He's making very good money and outperforming a lot of money managers out there. So he must look for opportunity to actually book profits at the higher levels, because paper is also very cyclical industry, just like metals. So the right levels where the resistance are placed are 200 to 240 odd levels. So if the stock hits the higher level, he should actually look for opportunity to take chips off the table.
Right. So now we are getting one more caller from Hyderabad. Hi, Venkat.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening. So what is your query about?
Madam, I have 5 lakhs hard cash in my hand.
Sorry, you're not audible, Venkat.
Madam. Pardon me, madam, 1 second.
Yes.
I have 5 lakhs rupees in my hand, hard cash.
Okay.
I want to buy Cipla. It make decent correction recently.
Okay.
On which price I have to enter in that stock? Technically, please tell me the rate of entering.
All right. So for this, I'd like to go across to Aditya. Aditya, he has, he wants to invest 5 lakh rupees and he's asking for like if Cipla is a good choice for him to invest in for a short term.
Sure. So, pharma sector is going through a lot of volatility, and rightly so, because Donald Trump's policy is actually affecting or creating volatility in pharma sector. So, given that he'll take his new term from Jan 2025, I expect volatility to be there in this counter, and the way the stock is actually correcting, that seems like sellers are getting little aggressive over here, and profit booking is the theme right now. So he should wait for some time, because as per technicals, the trend is turning on the downside in the short term. So there's a possibility that stock goes down to lower levels like 1400 to 1250. So he must wait right now. He shouldn't deploy his money right now.
All right. And if we could take a long-term view on the stock, so Lancelot, how is Cipla looking on the charts?
So Cipla actually, from a fundamental perspective, the business has been growing. But if one looks at it this way, recently the promoters did offload a part of their stake, and sometimes that gives the market the perception that the promoters are feeling that the company is fairly valued, because they obviously would have a better insight into the future. So that sometimes sends you a bit of a negative signal in terms of holding on to the stock. But business growth wise, we've seen decent growth from the company. Its business has been growing both domestically as well as overseas. And I think the management is quite astute in terms of looking out for new products and new molecules in the space of which they are operating in. So to that extent, yes, the business is good, but maybe one can look at a lower valuation in order to accumulate the stock.
Okay, we've got Devdutt Bose on the phone line with us, joining in from Mumbai. Hi, Devdutt. CDSL, interesting choice over there. Give us a bit more, insight into when you bought and what are you looking at in terms of this investment?
I bought it at about end of October, when it was about 1450. Now it is about 1940, I think. Already 500 rupees profit per share. So this stock, because of the increase in demat size and all what is happening in India, and a lot of people entering into the market, so my target is it may go to 3,000. So what's your suggestion as the expert in the market?
Okay. Aditya, would you like to take that one? He thinks it's going to go up to about 3,000 and he's bought it at 1450. Should he buy more or do you think it's going to meet that target that he has in mind?
Sure. First of all, congratulations to the viewer. He's making good money out there. But I wouldn't suggest to actually buy more, because these stocks are very much influenced by the sentiments in the market and also the market cycle. When the market cycle is good, these stocks give high beta moves on the upside. And when the market goes down, these stocks actually correct also. And given the stellar rally in the recent times, I think a lot of good fundamentals are in the price. So given that even US market is very expensive, it's trading at 205% of market cap to GDP ratio. So if the global correction starts, Indian market will also get affected, and hence this stock can also correct, given it has so much of rise beneath its belt. So I think the right thing should be to book the profits at the higher level, because technically I feel the stock is very overbought right now. And the right levels could be around 2000 to 2250.
Okay, so he's looking at a target that you don't quite agree with. Lancelot, is that the view you hold as well? Because this share has actually seen quite a bit of a rally in the past 1 year.
Yeah. While, the rally is basically driven by, more people chasing fewer stocks. But when you look at valuation, the stock is trading at 75 times earnings. And I think anybody will tell you that if you buy a stock which is trading at 75 times earnings, the earnings have to double every year, in order to justify such a high valuation. So that being very unlikely that you're seeing earnings doubling, year on year for the next 3, 4 years. I think it's an expensive stock and one should look at booking profits and exiting.
So that's a hold, sell on
Yeah,
CDSL.
sell.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we are also getting one more caller now from Bengaluru. Hi, Chandravarma. Chandravarma, hello.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, actually, I have purchased the Use My Trade. So I have purchased when the stock is on 16 rupees.
Okay.
So I have purchased around 300 stocks or something. So I can hold, as I checked the fundamental of the company and all, it is good. So I can hold it and or I can purchase more or thing. This is my query. I want to know that.
All right, and when did you buy this, Chandravarma?
I think it was 1 week back or something I have.
Okay,
purchased.
1 week back you've bought, and why did you go for Ease My Trip?
Because it is a travel company and it is good and many people are investing in the travels and all the good one, right? Which are traveling, many people are traveling and all. That's why I think to buy this one.
All right. So for this, I'd like to go across to Lancelot. Lancelot, what is the fundamentals of Ease My Trip looking like? Because Chandravarma is asking for a long-term outlook on the company.
So you see, the company is trading at almost 66 times its earnings, and it's one of the new age companies, where it is all the fulfillment is online and through digital means. But what is also happening is that in that space, there's a huge amount of competition from both domestic as well as international players in terms of doing tickets booking online. In fact, now even a company like IRCTC is providing this service. So over a period of time, it's going to be very difficult uh, for a company to sustain unless they have to invest a lot into customer acquisition, customer servicing, and volumes are getting distributed over various portals. So I think the risk is very high in this investment. So one should probably look at just exiting and look at investing in some other safer investments linked to the hospitality industry. If somebody needs to look at hospitality and travel, there are companies which maybe the hotel space which will offer better returns and more safety in terms of downside.
Okay. We've got another caller. He's joining us from Ranchi. Tawfiq, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi. Evening.
Evening, Tawfiq. So go ahead with your query. I think it's around Senco Gold, and we've seen quite a bit of a rally in it. And in times like this, gold, of course, is always a safe haven. So please go ahead and ask away.
Right. So I just wanted to know whether it is the right time and the right levels for buying Senco Gold or not. I want to invest some amount in Senco Gold. So, and in addition to that, if not Senco Gold, then which jewelry share should I invest in?
Okay, we'll take that across to both our guests. First to you, Lancelot. He's looking at a 3 to 5 year outlook in Senco Gold. And the share, of course, has been doing quite well over the past year at least. And as I was earlier saying, of course, gold is always a good safe haven to park your money in, especially in the times that we are living in.
Yes, that's true. But then, if one has to park your money, it's better to buy gold rather than gold companies. So I think if there are many of these companies who have entered the market in the recent years in the jewelry sector, and that is going to get the space is becoming crowded. There is more competition, and what we have seen is in the near term there is a bit of let's say saturation in that segment creeping in. So I think it's going to become more difficult going forward. And since the stock is trading almost at 45, 50 times its earnings, I think one needs to be a little careful and cautious. Maybe look at exiting Senco Gold and look at maybe an alternative like Titan might be a better option at this point in time.
You was suggesting that he put his money into Titan because he was asking for an alternative if you didn't quite agree with Senco.
Yeah, you can look at Titan as an alternative because that is more broad-based. It has different product lines as well, apart from the jewelry business. And it's a very innovative and good management which have been able to create market share in many of the spaces that they entered.
Right. So we're also getting a caller from Bengaluru. Hi, Ashok.
How are you?
I'm good, Ashok. What is your query about? Please go ahead.
Yeah, I am holding a Kitec garment from past 2 years.
Okay.
I purchased when it was at 255,
right.
255 rupees, and I have around 150 stocks. So now recently the management also has announced that it's going to issue a bonus stock.
Okay.
For 2:1. So should I continue to hold or what should I have to exit?
I'm glad that you've researched about this stock before investing. Now, for the long-term view, I'd like to go across to Lancelot. Lancelot, how is Kitec's Garments fundamental looking to you? Because the stock has been performing well. Today also it was, I think, 5% up. So what's your take on it?
So unfortunately, I don't cover Kitec's Garments, so I can't really give you a fundamental view on the same.
Okay.
But I can just tell you that if there is a bonus announcement and the stock has jumped up because of the bonus announcement, really bonus does not change the valuation of the shares because number of shares just increase over the same base. So if one is making good money, it's better to book profits and in the short term and wait for correction. Although on a fundamental perspective, I can't really give you an idea because I do not have coverage on the stock.
If I can go across to Aditya, very short-term view on Kitec's Garments if you had to give.
I think the stock has been going in a parabolic way, one way upside. So he must look for opportunities to take chip off the table at higher levels. So as you know, the stock is going just one way up. It's difficult to maintain its momentum. So I think he must look for opportunities to sell at the higher levels.
All right. Okay, very quickly going across to Kunal, who's joining us from Varanasi. Viewers will appreciate that we've been flooded by calls and we're trying to take as many as we can. Hi, Kunal. Go ahead with what you'd like to know. You're looking for a long-term sort of a perspective?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Good evening to all. My query is that I was researching the pumping solution stock and came across Kirloskar Brothers. I want to hold this for like 5 year plus. And I'm actually confused between WPIL, which is also a pump making entity, and Kirloskar Brothers. I want to enter with around 2.5 lakh rupees investment for 5+ years perspective. Any guidance will be wonderful.
Okay, Lancelot, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, I think Kirloskar Brothers has been in the business for a long time, has got significant market share, and one can look at remaining invested in this stock. It's good to even add add to the stock to the portfolio even at the current trend, because over the next couple of years you are going to see significant industrialization take place as well as capex, and Kirloskar Brothers is going to be one of the major beneficiaries of this up move. So from a fundamental perspective, one can look at adding to the stock.
All right, now we are getting one more caller from Kolkata. Hi, Sudeep.
Good evening.
Good evening. Please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, I just wanted to know about the general outlook for the IT-related stocks and more specifically about Tech Mahindra.
Okay, so
any help in this?
So are you planning to invest in Tech Mahindra?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. So quick view on Tech Mahindra medium-term outlook. Lancelot, what do you have to say on it?
So I think the stock is fairly valued from a valuation perspective. So one can, it's not really then a time to look at adding into this space. It may be prudent to wait and see in the first week of January or February what are the new initiatives being taken by the US government, because all the top tech companies, sizable amount of their business comes from the US. And if there are any measures that could be negative for the sector, then all the top companies, including Tech Mahindra, could be adversely impacted. So rather than buying now, we are, maybe another month or so into this, into the next year, and we will be able to get a sense of what are the initiatives being taken by the new president. and that would give you a good indication of whether that would be a good entry point or not.
Oh, yes, and that, perhaps holds for most IT stocks. Sanjeev Thakur calling in from Dharamsala. Must be a very cold evening there. Go ahead with your question.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening to all. Ma'am, I'm holding 3,600 shares of NBCC. Shall I continue to hold or shall I sell it?
Okay, Aditya, what should he do? He is asking, should he hold or sell NBCC? He's bought it at a price, I think, of 36.
Okay, all right. So he is already getting 3x returns over there. But he should actually look for opportunities to sell at the higher levels. Currently, the stock has corrected recently. Recently, the stock has corrected from 140 odd levels to 87. So sellers are getting aggressive, and this is a bounce back in an uptrend. So I think it would be better if he actually takes chips off the table at higher levels, because there's a possibility that a few weeks or months down the line, this stock can again touch its swing low, which is placed at 85 and 80 odd levels.
Right. Now we are getting one more query. It is from Advait. It is from Prabhu. And he's saying that he's holding Advait Infratech and he's entered in 1750. So what should he be doing? Like, should he be selling or holding the stock? So Aditya, for this, what do you have to say on Advait Infratech?
Right. So it's a good stock. Recently, the stock is actually rallying. So that is showing strength in the counter. So he can hold on right now, and the resistance are placed at 1920 to almost 2000 odd levels. So that could be the short-term target for the stock, and the level at which the technicals could deteriorate is 1600. So below 1600, the trend could turn towards the downside. Otherwise, the stock is doing well.
All right, Lancelot and Aditya, thank you very much for joining us on Ask Profit and taking out the time to deal with all those queries that came in from our viewers. And to all our viewers, do remember that this is a daily show. We are live Monday to Friday, and we would love to help you on your investments. So do either call us or you can send us your queries on WhatsApp, but we are running out of time. So thank you very much for joining us.
We set you up for the day's trade. 30 calls before the markets open on NDTV Profit.
Jubilant Food above a 600 level on Friday.
Wipro can be first trade to buy
all commodities, but in that Vedanta looks good.
Our experts give you the top stock ideas to prepare you for the day.
ICICI Lombard stocks hit the first target. It has given a very good momentum with good volume.
Don't miss the chance to make the